Let's face it, coaster names don't really matter, so there's no use ranking the best and worst ones. Thank you all for watching, get out. But it's still fun to talk about. And I think some people may rank rides higher or lower based on the name, even if they do so subconsciously. In this episode, I want to highlight the best ones. These usually coincide with an awesome theme, or is a clever play on words, or it fits the ride perfectly, or it just sounds good coming out of your mouth. These are the world's 25 best coaster names. I wrote down a total of 35 possibilities, so let's run down the 10 that didn't make the cut. The Shredder is a Ninja Turtle-themed Gerstlauer spinning coaster that's supposed to simulate a throwing star. Millennium Force opened in 2000 and is the perfect fit for the type of ride it is, and the futuristic theme it has. Leviathan is a giant sea serpent in Jewish mythology, and is a great, intimidating name for a giga coaster that simulates a sea creature. Invertigo is a clever play on words, combining invert and vertigo. The Boss is a type of name that you don't see often. It conveys dominance and fits the giant CCI wooden coaster very well. Hurler is actually a Wayne's World reference to vomiting, but I think the name by itself is great for a coaster. Manhattan Express may be an awful ride, but it's a great name for the coaster that wraps around the New York Hotel and Casino in Vegas. Serial Thriller is a sinister play on words, referencing mass murder, but still making sense as a coaster that thrills over and over again. If only it wasn't on a Vekoma SLC. High Roller was a simple but fitting name for the coaster on top of the stratosphere. A double meaning combining the height of the coaster and the term used for high-stakes gamblers. Finally, we have Mild Thing at Valleyfair, a kiddie coaster in the shadow of Wild Thing, the tallest coaster in the park. Sometimes parks strike out when they try to name their kids' rides after their major rides, but I thought this one was clever. Speaking of kiddie rides with clever name, that leads me into the first entry on this list. Number 25. Kitty Hawk at Carowinds. This Vekoma Hang and Bang opened in 2003 as Rugrats Runaway Reptar, then was rethemed as Flying Ace Aerial Chase when Cedar Fair transformed all of the Nickelodeon areas into Peanuts areas. In 2018, the ride was renamed once again to Kitty Hawk, a reference to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where the Wright brothers successfully made the first controlled powered airplane flight back in 1903. With Carowinds being partially located in North Carolina, and with this ride simulating flight, it was a perfect play on words for the ride's new name. Now, please get new trains. Number 24. Verbolten at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. This Zierer launch family coaster is themed to a drive along the German Autobahn, until a lightning bolt hits your car and you get lost in the Black Forest, a forbidden forest. Of course, forbidden in German translates to verboten, and considering a lightning bolt caused this whole mess, they throw the word Bolton there to land on Verbolten. It's an excellent ride for the German theme section, so good on you, Busch Gardens. Number 23. Renegade at Valleyfair. Wooden coasters often have a Western theme for obvious reasons. A renegade is a person who deserts or betrays an organization or a country, so the park fittingly calls this ride Renegade Outlaw Coaster. No double meaning or play on words here. Renegade is just a cool name that fits the ride. Number 22. Rampage at Alabama Adventure. To rampage is to rush around in a violent and uncontrollable manner. If that's not a great name for a wooden coaster, I don't know what is. It reminds me a bit of Tantrum, which I think is an okay name also. But where that gives you visions of a toddler screaming on a supermarket floor, Rampage gives you the thoughts of a beast wreaking havoc, and that's why it's a great fit. Number 21. Gemini at Cedar Point. On the Zodiac, Gemini is a set of twins, and Gemini actually means twins in Latin. This fits because Gemini is an aerodynamics mine train coaster with twin tracks. It also goes along with the 70s space type theme, and frankly, it just sounds cool. Number 20. Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland. Like Leviathan, Behemoth is also from Jewish mythology and represents one of the three chaos monsters: Ziz in the air, Leviathan in the sea, and Behemoth on the land. The Hebrew word behemoth is loosely translated to great beast, and in common culture, Behemoth is often used for anything large and powerful. When Behemoth opened at the park, it was the tallest coaster there, and I think the name is appropriate and intimidating. Number 19. Shivering Timbers at Michigan's Adventure. One of the more impressive looking wooden coasters I've ever seen is this CCI that dates back to 1998, built on a flat plot of land and having a massive wooden structure. Shivering Timbers is a play on words with the old pirate saying, "Shiver me timbers," but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The name just seems to fit with the appearance of the ride. Number 18. Fury 325 at Carowinds. The coaster with the world's tallest drop deserves a strong name, and that's what it got. but it also manages to be unique. It's themed to the fury of a hornet, a reference to how Charlotte was considered the hornet's nest of the American Revolution. But using the hornet as the logo and fury as the name, throwing in the height of the coaster also, makes for a great name that does the ride justice. Number 17. Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This Schwarzkopf opened in 1976 and was the first modern-day coaster with a vertical loop. What's another way to describe a vertical loop? A revolution. And what was the country celebrating in its opening year of 1976? The bicentennial of the American Revolution. It works on so many levels, plus it sounds cool. The official name is now the New Revolution, which just reminds me of a Who song, but I prefer the original. Number 16. Gatekeeper at Cedar Point. This B&M wing coaster has kind of a medieval theme, and the Gatekeeper is a giant bird that guards the front gate of Cedar Point. The bird theme is perfect for the wing coaster, and the fact that it crosses right over the new entry plaza of the park is what really drives the name. Plus, like all these other names, it just sounds cool. Number 15. The Legend at Holiday World. Located in the Halloween section of the park, the Legend is themed to Washington Irving's Gothic story of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. The hallmark of this story is the Headless Horseman, a soldier from the Revolutionary War who was beheaded but still haunts the town. Holiday World shortened the name to just the Legend, with the Headless Horseman serving as the logo. Number 14. Raptor at Cedar Point. When most people think of raptors, they think of those little vicious dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. But that's not all a raptor can be. The official definition of a raptor is a bird of prey, like an eagle or a hawk. Inverted coasters are often themed to flight, and Raptor was one of the originals. Raptor rules the sky and swoops along the Cedar Point midway, supposedly picking off park gas before it rises back up into its inversions. Number 13. Boardwalk Bullet at Kemah Boardwalk. This is quite the elaborate wooden coaster, located on the shores of the Gulf of Mexico in the Houston area, and the Gravity Group built this on an incredibly compact plot of land. The name has alliteration, which is a positive, and it fits the ride perfectly, as the train tears through that compact course like a bullet, sitting on the boardwalk. The name is just great. Number 12. Maverick at Cedar Point. Cedar Point is chock full of great names, but this one is the best. Maverick is generally associated with a Western theme, and is a perfect fit for its location in Frontier Town. The definition of a maverick is someone who's unorthodox and thinks independently, and this coaster is certainly unorthodox, especially when it opened in an era where every new coaster was breaking height and speed records. And then this one comes along standing 100 feet tall and blows everyone away. Maverick also sounds cool. Tom Cruise wouldn't have chosen it otherwise. Number 11. Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce. This reminds me a bit of Shivering Timbers. It's a play on words with a famous word or phrase that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the ride's theme. Boulder Dash sounds like Balderdash, which basically means nonsense. But given the ride's setting on the side of a mountain, the name works because the train is dashing among the boulders. It fits, it's a play on words, it's a solid name. Number 10. Intimidator and Intimidator 305 at Carowinds and King's Dominion. It was a great idea for Cedar Fair to name both of these new for 2010 speed machines after NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt, who donned the name the Intimidator. Even without the Earnhardt theme, the name itself for a 200 and 300 foot coaster is fantastic. Rides like this should have intimidating names, and as direct and in your face as the name Intimidator is, I love it. Number 9. Oblivion at Alton Towers. Here's another instance where the name is mysterious and great, and it fits the ride like a glove. Oblivion was the first ever dive coaster, and stands just 65 feet tall, but its drop extends all the way to 180 feet. That's a 115 foot deep, pitch dark tunnel, so it really does put the rider into a state of oblivion, the state of being unaware or unconscious of what is happening. Number 8. Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is the original Goliath. Six Flags has plopped this name on a bunch of their rides, some of which make no sense whatsoever. Goliath is, of course, a biblical giant that's defeated by David, and when Goliath opened in 2000, it was the world's tallest coaster with a 255 foot drop. It's a lot like Behemoth or Intimidator. It just conveys size and power, and if you look at it just in a vacuum, this name on this coaster, it's fantastic. It's just too bad that Six Flags had to make such a joke out of it. Number 7. The Beast at Kings Island. When this was being built back in the late 70s, the park knew that this was going to be a coaster like no other. By far the world's longest coaster, taking place completely in the woods. It needed a name to fit the nature of the ride. They chose the Beast, an absolutely perfect name for this monster lurking between the trees. It was even the inspiration for the R.L. Stine book with the same name. Not many other coasters can claim that honor. Number 6. Railblazer at California's Great America. This is the trifecta. It sounds awesome, it fits the ride, and it's a double meaning. The RMC Raptor is themed to riding an ATV in the western US and is an obvious play on words with Trailblazer. But because this is a single rail coaster, that rail aspect of the name is highlighted. It holds the title of the best named RMC, though I will admit that a lot of RMCs have terrible names. Number 5. Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. Ghost Town is Knott's pride and joy, the original land that the rest of the park was built around. And in 1998, they decided to give this area the park's signature coaster. This is a large-scale CCI wooden coaster themed to a ghost riding a horse through the night. A good Western theme for a wooden coaster. And like all of the names at the top of the list, it's just a downright cool name. Number 4. Desperado at Buffalo Bills Resort and Casino. We talked earlier about Renegade and Maverick, and this falls right in line with those themes. Buffalo Bills has a Western theme, and this Aero Hypercoaster has the perfect name for that casino. I would say it has the perfect theme also, but there literally is no theme to this coaster. A desperado is a desperate or reckless person, especially a criminal and usually tied to the Wild West culture. And reckless is a good way to describe what was once the world's tallest coaster. I just wish it would be open once in a while. Number 3. Dueling Dragons at Islands of Adventure. When I was an enthusiast back in junior high, I thought Dueling Dragons was the coolest name for a coaster, period. It's really a shame that it changed its name to Dragon Challenge to fit into the wizarding world of Harry Potter. And of course, it was later scrapped entirely. The name, Dueling Dragons, along with that incredible statue of the dragons at the entrance, and the ride intertwining with itself, actually looking like a pair of dueling dragons. It was perfect. Plus, it has alliteration, which I like. But over the years, I've come to appreciate 2 other names a little more. Number 2. Nemesis at Alton Towers. The theme of this subterranean B&M invert is a creature from another dimension being uncovered, and the coaster itself is the mechanism used to pin it into the ground before it causes any more havoc. The creature is the Nemesis, which is defined as an arch enemy, so it fits the ride well, and it sounds great and is intimidating. Thorpe Park has Nemesis Inferno, which is a little too much going on, and I prefer the simplicity of just Nemesis. Number 1. Montezuma's Revenge at Knott's Berry Farm. Located in Fiesta Village, most people probably don't think twice about who Montezuma is and why he wants revenge. But those in the know realize that this coaster is themed to poop. More specifically, diarrhea. The locals are immune to the bacterial strain that lives in the food and the water, but tourists will have a nasty reaction to it, and that is Montezuma's Revenge. If that isn't enough, it's stylized so that the name spells Zoom, since this was the world's first launch coaster when it opened in 1978. It's such a great classic name that it has to top my list of the world's best. These are my top 25 coaster names in the world. I know this was almost exclusively North American coasters, but other than a couple rides at Alton Towers, I couldn't think of any outstanding coaster names overseas. So if you know any I should have mentioned, drop them in the comments below, as well as which coasters you consider to have the best names out there. If you like this video, also be sure to leave a like, and subscribe if you're new here and want to see more countdowns like this. I'll be talking about the 25 worst coaster names in a few days, so you don't want to miss that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.